Hi, my name is Ben Archer. I'm the Careers Advisor here with Taree University's campus. About what you're interested in and what your passions are. So for example, you may be thinking, I would love to do something with history. And you're going to be more successful and find yourself with more opportunities presented to you if you pursue something you're interested in. If you're interested in history but you decide, I'm actually going to do biology or I'm going to do accounting, because you're not interested in it, it's not going to work out well for you. So strongly recommend that if you are interested in something, that you use that as a starting point for your career decision making. So obviously there's a time commitment for study, and when you enroll in a degree, it does give you a bit of an overview of how many hours you can expect to do over the course of a semester. And one thing that often catches people off guard, particularly if you are living at home and if you already have a family and you're coming in to study as an older person, is if you are looking at your 9 to 5 schedule and you've got, 9 to 5 I'm at work, I've got kids in the evening, how am I going to fit this in? You're going to really need to be intentional to carve out that time for study. When I went back to uni and studied online, when I had 2 kids, I found myself having to get up first thing in the morning to be able to get that study done. So that way I had my hour for the day completed, and I literally hit save on my document and the first kid would wake up. So the big thing to keep in mind is that the ATAR is only one way to get into university, and there are many other ways you can get into university as well. Also, the other big thing to keep in mind is just because you have an older student, or maybe you didn't even finish high school, that doesn't preclude you from university entrance. There are different ways of getting into university and also different ways of achieving study as well. And just because you're choosing a practical degree such as like engineering or science doesn't mean that you won't have to be on campus for the whole time. There are practical subjects where you may need to travel on campus, but a lot of universities are now also investing in virtual workshops as well, where you have a digital space where you can put your hands to a practical experience and you still get the same results. The other big thing to keep in mind is that here in Australia, all of our universities are regulated by the federal government, and that a degree from one university is equal to a degree from another university. Quite often we hear things about university rankings and league tables and things like that, and really they're not important. The federal government makes sure that all of our universities in Australia have an equivalent standing and have an equal course experience, and just because you went to a university that is not ranked in, say, the top 1 or 2 or 3 in Australia doesn't mean that your degree is worth any more or any less than someone graduating from a university that has only been in operation, say, 10 to 15 years. You're going to be more successful where you're happiest, and it may take some time to find the university that gives you the right learning experience for you. It took me 7 years to complete my master's degree in business, and the reason why it took me 7 years is because I changed universities 5 times. I was just trying to find the right fit for me. And regardless of where you go to study, as long as you're happy with the environment and as long as you're feeling supported, you will be successful. When preparing to study online, the big thing is being accountable to yourself. When you're on campus, and even thinking about high school as well, there are people who will chase you for assignments, and when you're on campus you have that peer pressure that you get from your class as well, with people trying to see how did you go with that assignment and things like that. You don't get that online, so it's up to you to keep yourself accountable. Carving out a good study space is also really important. Trying to get study done at the dining room table, as much as we think that it's going to work, it quite often doesn't. And spaces like Taree University's campus are really important for giving you that sense of community, but also giving you a dedicated study space so that you can know that when you walk through the door and you've accessed the kitchenette, made your tea and coffee, that you are sit down and you are ready to go and get the work done. If you are uncertain about what you want to study or even which university to choose, it's a good idea to make contact with myself at the university's campus, and we are able just to have a conversation about what your interests are, how you learn, and probably the big thing to keep in mind is that we will kind of ask some questions that you may find a little bit challenging, such as, how are you with sticking to deadlines? How are you at following detailed instructions? And also, finding out a little bit more about what your day-to-day looks like. So if you were to say come to me as a mature age student who has a couple of kids at school and working full-time, I'm going to be asking questions about, what time of the day do you think you will be best to study? Are you going to be able to wake up before the rest of the house and get that hour of uninterrupted time? Or is your work going to be flexible enough to allow you to have, say, a study day every now and then to prepare for an exam or a large assessment? So keeping in mind that we will be asking some questions regarding your everyday life is really important, and being honest in those conversations as well, being prepared to be honest, is really important too, because I want you to be as successful as possible, and you want success for yourself as well, and the best way we can do that is by partnering with each other and being upfront and honest about experiences and what is going to work best for you. So the best way to work with me is keep in touch. Say once after you've had your initial enrolment interview or conversation and you're enrolled in your degree, and you're, say, getting a couple of subjects under your belt and going, what, I'm actually really enjoying this, I want to see what else is available, I want to try and get some more hands-on experience, feel free to make contact, and we will do our best to connect you with local employers who would be interested in partnering with you for your experience in terms of either paid employment or work experience, just so you can get that practical hands-on experience as well.